closer to the top of the hour, we brought you a little bit of a peek into this Fighting Oligarchy rally that is underway in Missoula. This is University of Montana campus. And for folks who are not familiar with this tour, because it's a tour, this is being headed up by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and they have been going, state by state to different cities, drawing some sizable crowds here as they talk about what they say are their concerns with folks who are well-to-do and corporations having a lot of power as they see it here in the United States. So it looks like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is at the podium right now, so we're going to bring you in to listen to some of her remarks. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Always be the people, the masses who refuse to comply with authoritarian regimes, who are our last and strongest defense of our country and our freedoms. We know that a better world is possible, and we are willing to do something about it. But to get there, we need to be honest about how we got to where we are right now, because this moment didn't come out of nowhere. It has been a long time coming. The destruction of our rights and democracy is directly tied to the growing and extreme wealth inequality that has been building in America for years. It is not a coincidence that billionaires like Elon Musk dumped billions into this election to support Donald Trump. And he sure as hell isn't doing it out of charity. And we saw it right here, just last election, right here in Montana, the crypto lobby and dark money funneling tons and tons of money trying to buy elections right here in the state of Montana. And time after time, we've seen how our government and laws are more responsive to corporations and lobbyists than to the will of everyday people and voters. And we also know that the agenda of dark money to keep our wages low and to loot our public goods like Social Security and Medicare to give to the rich is deeply unpopular with the people, across party, across background. But just look at what Republicans have been quietly doing in Congress, voting to advance cuts on hundreds of billions of dollars for Medicaid and veterans benefits so that they can take that money and give it to their donors in the form of tax cuts and sweetheart government contracts to companies like SpaceX. And you know who from Montana voted for that, by the way? Both of your senators, Steve Daines and Tim Sheehy. And your House members, Ryan Zinke and Troy Downing. They know that that's not what you want. They know that it is deeply unpopular to chip away at some of the only social safety nets that people have. They know it hurts you, and they know, but they are not there to serve working families in Montana. They are there to serve themselves and the billionaires who pay them. But they know that the only chance that they have to get away with such a deeply unpopular agenda is to try to stoke deep divisions along race, identity, and culture to keep us fighting and distracted. And this has been the big money playbook, not just now, but for decades. And that is why Donald Trump is not an aberration. He is the logical, inevitable conclusion of an American political system dominated by corporate and dark money. And if we are to defeat him, Montana, we must defeat the system that created him. Money in politics is the hands of oligarchy. We are at a crossroads, Montana. We can either have extreme wealth inequality with the toxic division and corruption that it requires to survive, or we can have a fair economy for working people along with the democracy and freedoms that uphold it. Oligarchy or democracy, but we cannot have both. I grew up in a working class family. My mom cleaned houses, and my dad worked on a small business. My parents worked themselves to the bone so that my brother and I could have a shot at the American dream. And for a moment there, it looked like we were going to make it. We had a home. Bills were getting a little less stressful to pay, and I was doing well in public school. And what may have looked like a modest life to others was a dream come true for us. And suddenly, when I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And after a long fight, we lost him. And my dad actually passed away in September of 2008. Just as the economy crashed in the Great Recession and millions of jobs across the country vanished. It felt like the little world of our family was falling apart just as the larger world was falling apart too. And overnight, my mom was left alone to figure out how to provide and put 2 kids through school, keep our house, pay off medical bills, all on a house cleaner salary. And that, Montana, is how I became a waitress to help my family make ends meet. Because it was millions of us. Because it was millions of us, innocent working families, who paid the price in the economic crash while the billionaires and thieves who defrauded our financial system got off richer than ever before. And not a single one of them went to jail. That is the story that Republicans mock. Not mine, but all of ours, when they say that a waitress or a working person is unqualified to serve in Congress. But the fact is, Montana, many of us are far more qualified to know what real life is actually like than